Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm excited for this today. There's a lot of good contestants. There's a lot of potential, content. 100 pieces of content. So I'm excited. Yeah.
The Minecraft Speedrunning Ranked team holds playoffs 3 times every year. The top 12 players are invited to the bracket, while the remaining top 100 players must play in the qualifiers to fight for the remaining 4 spots. I managed to get enough phase points from placing in the top 100 multiple times in Season 5 to be eligible to play in the qualifiers for the playoffs. I had already played in the previous season's qualifiers and both iterations of Mid-Season Showdown, so I knew what I was getting into. There's only one issue. The tournament is on the 24th, and I get back from my 10-day trip on the 23rd, meaning that I will have less than a day to prepare for the tournament after not being able to play for 10 days. With this new challenge arriving, I had to get a plan to not become absolutely washed during the tournament. Learning anything new would be completely off the table, as I would have no way to practice it. I decided to do some VOD review until I was able to play again, and refined my stronghold nav, as that was my biggest hurdle during Mid-Season Showdown. It's time for the tournament. Myself and the other runners pour into the private room, ready to give it our all. Because of how the tournament works, the first eliminations are after the 3rd seed, but due to a unique feature of this tournament, any players with extra phase points will gain additional 30 points and will be immune for the first elimination round. I happen to have enough to gain 1 additional tournament point, allowing me to play at least 5 of the 10 seeds. The first seed was a very standard village seed, with 11 iron from 2 blacksmiths, which begins the first of many major decisions for this tournament. I could either make an iron axe, or shears and a stone axe. The iron axe would be faster, while crafting shears would be slower, but would allow me to gather much more blocks. I decided to make an iron axe, but grab a few more logs than usual for extra blocks. This may seem pretty insignificant, but decisions like these can make or break runs. I entered the nether around the 2-minute mark, and had pretty decent terrain to the bridge bastion, which led me to my second major decision. This bridge bastion had 2 triple chest ramparts. There are plenty of routes for every variation of this bastion, but there are 2 which outweigh the rest: the standard right triple route and Donkey Kong. The Donkey Kong route takes longer to set up, but nets much more pigs. I opted to go for the Donkey Kong route, using a gold pickaxe to collect blocks along the way. The bastion went pretty well. I was able to get all my trades, make it to the fortress, collect my rods, measure my eye, and make my way to second portal cords. While I was beginning to build my portal, completions started rolling in, meaning I had to finish this seed fast if I wanted to make it in the top 24. I instantly navved to the portal room, with my 0 cycle explosives already pre-crafted. Unfortunately for me, the 0 cycle tower was back 100, one of the hardest 0 cycles in the game. I had never hit the top setup for this tower ever, so I knew I wasn't going to be able to hit it in this tournament. I began to half-bow, but it was too little too late as the last few completions rolled in. Knowing very well that I could have secured a placement on this seed, I knew I had to lock in for the next, which contained a very linear buried treasure overworld. There was a ravine next to the island which ended up being fake. I thought that this would be the case, but due to people getting nether advancements so quickly, I thought that it could have been real. After that moderate-sized time loss, I was able to enter the nether through a different ravine on the other side of the island. Unfortunately, I didn't know to check this side of the island first instead of the other side, so this ended up losing me time. The nether had a very close housing bastion, which is widely considered to be the best of the 4. I started the manhunt route, one of the fastest bastion routes in the game. After getting my trades, the fort was 3 quick pearl throws away, but after getting to the good part, I struggled to find the blaze spawner. Now, the blaze spawner was not hard to find at all. In fact, it's even on my screen right here. It took me 50 seconds to find it, which is a huge unneeded time loss. I also fell off the spawner, which is really not great. Needless to say, this fort split wasn't going as well as it could have. Not to mention, during the post-blind, not only did I get caved, I had to fight a witch, and I had some mishaps with my stronghold calculator, causing me to throw 3 eyes as opposed to 1. Together, all these mistakes added up to around 2 minutes, and runners were starting to finish as I began to death reset. a death reset that wouldn't have been needed if I didn't fall off the fort. I timed out on second portal chords, and this match goes to show how much small mistakes can add up over the course of a run. After a painful second seed, things would only get more explosive as the third seed was a desert temple overworld. I was able to scout for everything in the overworld except for gravel, which I found at the bottom of a temple. I entered at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, which is pretty average for a good temple seed. I entered to a phenomenal treasure bastion facing me. I set forth and fearlessly scaled the right side of the bastion. I did a safer variation of the standard treasure route, but wasn't able to place a block I needed due to a piglin in the way. Luckily, I was able to adapt and get the route started. The rest of the route went smoothly, and after a close call getting to the fort, I was able to find the blaze spawner, getting way too comfortable with a tree. So after blowing it up, I was able to collect the rest of my rods, measure my eye, and make my way to chords. I was barely able to enter the end before I timed out. I had a few hiccups during the run, but no major mistakes. As of writing the script, I really don't know where I went wrong or if I simply played slowly, but I had no time to dwell on that, because we were moving on to Seed 4, another village. I did decide to turn chat off because the messages were obstructing some F3 values I needed. This village had iron, 3 diamonds, and an iron pick in the blacksmith. In a random seed run, I would always make a diamond axe here, but I knew I had to play for consistency. I made a diamond pickaxe and stone tools, ditching the iron one. The nether housed another treasure, only this time I did not see the fort, meaning that I had another important decision to make. I could either break the spawner to pyrite, or break the top chest to perform a slightly more inconsistent strat to find the fort, or to send it with no knowledge. Luckily for me, I didn't have to make that decision though, as I was barely able to see a part of the fort from the bastion. I played the rest of the seed normally, and timed out whilst in the stronghold. After this next seed, the bottom 50% of the remaining players are eliminated, meaning I need to get a high placement to score some points or my tournament life will come to an end. And while a ruined portal seed with a low 1-minute bridge bastion enter may seem crazy, let me tell you this seed is far from good. I got to the fortress with everything I needed pretty quickly. However, due to the lack of food, I decided to make the risky play of leaving the nether early so I could hunger reset. This is a hit or miss play because I would be leaving the nether at a different location than most runners. It is more likely than not that this would create variance, which would either be very good or very bad for me. This was looking to do much more bad than good as I had no terrain and still haven't found a blaze spawner. The fortress and terrain to second portal cores on the seed was so bad that most runners would not end up finishing the seed due to the 15-minute time limit. I knew I had to save my pace, so I made the very risky play to leave on 11 eyes of ender, and hope that the end portal had at least 1 eye, a 70% chance of happening. I got to the stronghold with 2 minutes left, still very winnable. All I had to do is find the portal room and perform a 0 cycle. Fortunately, this time wouldn't come. I spent the remaining 2 minutes searching the stronghold for the portal room. To add insult to injury, it was a 0 eye, meaning I wouldn't be able to complete the seed at all. This meant that myself and half the remaining runners would be eliminated. This puts me at around 60th place in the tournament, and while it may be a bummer, being around 70th place in the world doesn't seem so bad. Ranked is incredibly fun for me and I really enjoy playing in tournaments, and I hope to join more in the future to hone my speedrunning skills. 4 people ended up winning this tournament, including my friend Aquacord, who dominated this tourney by a landslide. If you're watching this video as it comes out, then the playoffs are happening right now at Feinberg's Twitch channel, so be sure to check it out if you want to see some of the most skilled Minecraft gameplay anyone has to offer. Also, subscribe!